guys, I'm for Podcast and welcome to week 35.5 of the 2018-2019 Premier League review. If you are new to the series, what we do is we take a look at the past set of Premier League results, we take a look at the Premier League table, and we finish off by looking at the top goal scorers. So here are the past set of Premier League results. These games were played on Tuesday the 23rd and Wednesday the 24th of April 2019. Only 4 games this time because these teams were busy earlier in the season in the FA Cup presumably. And so they're playing their games in hand now, and after this we're all set for the final 3 games of the season. And next games are their timed in this video, so if you want to hear about a specific match, you can just go to the time next to the game and you'll skip out all the other crap. But without further ado, let's get into our first game. We start with the Manchester derbies. Manchester United took on Manchester City. In this vital Manchester derby, it was a nervy first half. City dominated the ball, but arguably United had the better chances. But one team would find the net in the second half as the blue side of Manchester took the lead 5 minutes in as Bernardo Silva got a goal on his 100th appearance for City. He picked the ball up, just weaved his way in and out. Luke Shaw wants to shepherd him down the wing, but the Portuguese winger steps inside Shaw and somehow squeezes an effort past David De Gea at the near post. And City got a second in the 65th minute as Leroy Sané gives City a bit of breathing room. He came off the bench about 10 minutes earlier and the German was electric from the second he stepped onto the pitch. It started as Fred gave the ball away inside the City half. It's played to Raheem Sterling. He turns and darts forward. He keeps going before looking up and playing it across the field to Sané. Sané then took a touch and hit a shot straight at De Gea, but for a keeper that we often consider amazing, it's really poor as it just whacks his knee and flies into the net. And actually, about this goal, Sterling with the assist, Sané with the goal. That was Sterling's 10th assist and Sané's 10th goal, and that means that both players in this one goal got 10 goals and 10 assists. Crazy. I really enjoyed that stat. And as the game ended, as Manchester City took advantage of their game in hand to put one hand on the Premier League title. The scoreline may look a bit close, but in actual reality, City were all over United, and especially in the second half, it never looked like City were going to lose this. In what many considered to be City's biggest challenge from now until the end of the season, they showed again why they are miles above the rest of the league, as they completed the league double over Manchester United, and are the first side to beat Man United twice in the league since 2014. If United fans took anything away from last night's game, it would be that at least they played with a bit more respect than what they did on Sunday, but that was about it. And I don't know what it is, but over the last 3 weeks or so, David De Gea has been rubbish. Messi really did a number on him in the Champions League. United sank fast after City opened the scoring, and again Pogba was poor, and he actually lost a header to Raheem Sterling. You know, Pogba, who's about a foot taller than Sterling, but then again, who cares, because he still made it into the team of the year somehow. I don't know how he's got in. I can get in then. And we move on to Wolves versus Arsenal. Wolves took the lead just before the half-hour mark as Ruben Neves gave the home side the lead. What a beaut. Wolves have a free kick about 25 yards out. Ruben Neves stands over it, and we all know how good he is outside the area. The Portuguese midfielder weighs up his options, but it was obvious that he was going to shoot, and he did just that as he got it over the wall, back down, and it flew into the bottom left corner past a helpless Leno. And Wolves doubled their lead 10 minutes later as Matt Doherty put the home side in control. A corner for Wolves was taken shot. João Moutinho rolled it to Johnny. Johnny then back to Moutinho. Moutinho just couldn't find the ball. He gave it back to Johnny. Throughout all this, there's no Arsenal pressure. Johnny could find a pass though as he looked up, floated one into the middle. Leno comes for it. He was never going to get anywhere near it as Doherty got in front of the keeper and headed into the empty net. And Wolves got a third just before half time as Diogo Jota added his name to the scorers. Just shocking defending really. Arsenal give the ball away, it goes to Jota and he just runs. Easily skipped past the challenge, galloped forward, he's a bit wide in the box and there is a man free at the back post that everyone expects him to try and pass to, but instead, and I feel like Leno should be doing better with this one, as he p-rolled it underneath the German. Like I said, I feel Leno should be dealing with this. There's no real pace on the ball, it's near enough right at him, and if he wanted to, I'm sure he could have just kicked it away instead of actually dropping and trying to dive for it. But also got to go back in the 80th minute as Socrates scored with Arsenal's first shot on target. Yes, it took them 80 minutes to have a shot on target. It's a corner for Arsenal. Granit Xhaka put it in. Getting on the end of it was the big Greek centre-back and he bundled it in from close range. And as the game ended as Wolves outclassed Arsenal to keep their Europa League hopes alive. For Arsenal though, it was a second consecutive loss, and after the loss at the weekend, Arsenal made 7 changes but had to leave out their top scorer Pierre Aubameyang due to injury, and without him, Arsenal just looked lethargic and in all honesty looked like they just didn't want to be there. Mesut Ozil, Alexandre Lacazette saw very little of that ball. Wolves were all over Arsenal, thoroughly deserved the win as they capitalised on a shaky Arsenal back line. Their first goal was from a needless free kick, their second goal was with very little Arsenal pressure, and the third, Arsenal basically passed the ball to Jota. It's Arsenal's heaviest defeat to a newly promoted side since 1994, and it also saw Wolves beat Arsenal for the first time in all competitions since September 1979. And we move on to Watford versus Southampton. It didn't take long for this one to get going, and I really mean it this time, as just 7 seconds into the match, Southampton took the lead as Shane Long scored the quickest goal in Premier League history. Watford kicked off, they went back to Craig Cathcart. He wants to launch one forward, but in came Shane Long, blocked the ball, pounced onto it and chipped it over Foster and into the bottom right corner. And from an early goal to a late one as Watford equalised and nicked a point in the 90th minute as Andre Gray got the leveller. Darrow Janmaat has the ball in the wing, he's trying to cross it but it was blocked, but fortunately for him it still trickled to Andre Gray inside the area. He smashed one towards goal. Angus Gunn does get a hand to it but not quite enough as he watched it fly into the net. And that's how the game ended, as Shane Long's record breaking goal wasn't enough to win the game, but Southampton will be quite grateful to take a point. After the quick start, Watford were understandably rattled, but after a few minutes Watford came forward and started to blow off any cobwebs. Andre Gray had a few chances before he eventually found the net as he was denied at point blank range and headed the rebound over the bar. Like most of Watford's games this season, Gerard Deulofeu was the main threat for the Hornets. Watford brought off Craig Cathcart at the break and switched formations, and that just completely swung the momentum and handed the home side the upper hand. Southampton will be looking at their South Coast neighbours on Saturday, as a win against Bournemouth at the weekend will go a long way to helping them stay up, but there is a chance that the 2 points they let slip with a late goal here could have bad consequences come the end of the season. And finally, we've got Tottenham versus Brighton. The match was looking like it was going to end goalless. Tottenham were pushing and pushing, but they just could not find a way through. That was until the 88th minute when Christian Eriksen gave Spurs the lead and finally broke Brighton's resolve. Dele Alli had the ball and quickly led it off to Eriksen. The Danish playmaker took a touch before unleashing a shot from about 20 yards out, and it flew straight into the bottom right corner. And that's how the game ended, as Tottenham hit late to get the win against a very resilient Brighton side. Brighton haven't scored in the league since early March, and it was always going to be difficult to get out against the Tottenham side that have yet to concede in the league at their new stadium. Brighton were reduced to set pieces and counter-attacks, with the defensive duo of Shane Duffy and Lewis Dunk being the stars of the show for Brighton at the back. It always looked like Eriksen was going to be involved in a goal in this match, if not scoring it, then creating it, as he was at his creative best. He carved his side's best chances. He put crosses for Jan Vertonghen, Dele Alli, both of who failed to convert, and Lucas Moura was also played in by Eriksen, but his effort was hacked off the line by Lewis Dunk. The win was deserved, but Brighton will be devastated by how close they came. Also, I was asked to make a Vincent Janssen joke in this episode because he came off the bench and played in a Tottenham shirt for the first time since, August 2017 I think it was, but I can't think of one, so I'm just going to put a picture of him on the screen and just say he's a bit in it. He just is. Right, so that's what Gameweek got for this time. Before we go, let's take a look at the Premier League table and top goal scorers, starting off with the Premier League table. Start with the top 5, and as you can see, Manchester City moved to the top after beating Manchester United in the Manchester Derby. Liverpool is second and will now have to rely on Man City slipping up if they want to get the title. Tottenham are third after beating Brighton, Chelsea are fourth, and Arsenal make up the top 5 after losing to Wolves. Moving on to the bottom 5, and Huddersfield are on the bottom, Fulham are 19th, Cardiff make up the drop zone, Brighton are 17th as they lost to Tottenham, and Southampton make up the bottom 5 after drawing with Watford. You'll notice that I've just flew through the top and bottom, that's because hardly any of them played. Moving on to top goal scorers, and not a single person on this list scored this episode, so I'll quickly rattle through them. Sergio Aguero is top on 19 goals and 8 assists, Mo Salah is second on 19 goals and 7 assists, Pierre Aubameyang is third on 19 goals and 5 assists, next is Sadio Mane on 18 goals and 1 assist, and making up the top 5 is Raheem Sterling on 17 goals and 10 assists. Right, so that's good for this time. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I'll be back at the normal time on Tuesday at 4 PM for the next episode of the Premier League Review. If you want to stay up to date about anything we do, it would be best to follow us on Twitter. The link to that is in the description, or it's at portionofsport_. If you missed the last episode, that'll be on the right hand side of the outro screen, and a link to the channel will be on the left if you feel like subscribe. Come on, do it. But anyway, thanks for watching. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. I've been Mark from the Portion of Sport, and I will see you soon.
My mama calls,